All right, in this video, we're going to go through the process of creating geometry, views, all just to machine the slots and the 3 holes in this part. First thing we're going to do is create some geometry to help us create the planes that we need to machine some of the features on this part. So first thing we're going to do is create a couple levels here. So we'll go to level 10. We're going to call this lines for slot planes. Create some lines using endpoints. We're just going to pick midpoint for this ID wall for each slot. Just like that. Let's see, let's go level 2 is where I want to put my holes at. So we're going to just call this level holes. And we're going to go to model prep, hole axis. We want points at both ends and circles at both ends. And you just pick the hole. It'll create geometry just like that. Pick all our holes. All right. There's all the geometry we need to create planes to do some machining on this part. All right, let's go to our planes tab and start creating some planes for this. Let's go, I want to go to our levels. And I've got my fixture here. We'll go to the isometric view. This is how the part's oriented. And then I also created labels just to help keep up with the views. So I've got like SF1, and that represents the slot from the front view 1, slot from the front view 2, and so on. We've got the holes also. And if we go to the back, we've got slot from the back view 1, slot from the back view 2, and so on. And this is just so I can keep up with what views I'm creating. All right, so if we go to the planes tab, and we're going to start, we'll just start with slot front 1. So we want to go to the create a new plane up here in the corner. The little plus symbol is. Just click the drop down menu. Because we created lines to help us do this, we're going to use entity normal. So if you click that, what you want to do is click the, it asks you to select the normal entity, and we want to click the bottom of that line. So what that represents is, this is the plane we're creating in reference to that line. Your Z is what matters here. Their X and Y doesn't really matter. I think it'll affect how it simulates it. So if we want to mess around with that, let's say we want our trunnion to rotate like this so that we're actually X positive and Y positive in that direction. That's if you want to keep everything on one side of the trunnion or facing you so that you can see what's going on as you're machining it. I think you want to create the plane in this direction. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK on that, and we're just going to name this SF1 just like our labeling is on our fixture. You're going to do the same thing for all the other slots on this side. I'll do that. This SF2. Okay. SF3. And then the origins don't really matter. It's actually going to create an origin at the bottom of that line, and it'll actually help you a little bit when you're programming, and I'll kind of go through that when we get to that. It's F3. Go flip it over. We're going to use those same lines to do the ones for the back side. This is going to be, pick it at the opposite end. Let's see, was that right? Let me redo that. Geometry, entity normal. Yeah, so that's already right. Call this SB1. All right, don't have to move that around. SB2. SB3. All right, so that's got all our views for our slots. Now let's do our holes. We'll start back on the front. Doesn't really matter. We're just going to do it that way. Maybe normal. Don't want the point. The line. Move it around. Call this HF1. HF2. Three. Around to the back. They have to actually hit Alt S and go to wireframe to be able to see these. That's correct. HB1. HB2. HB3. All right. Now we've got all our views created, or our planes and views, however you want to look at it. Next, we'll start creating some more geometry now that we have our planes. All right, so let's create some geometry that'll help us rough these slots out real quick. So we're going to go level 1, go rough slots. We don't need all this other stuff on right now. Turn our solid on. We'll go to planes. And we'll go, I want that to be my G view. Well, yeah, I do. I want it to be a G view, so let's slot front 1. What I want to do, let's do, pick a point. Let's see, where am I at in my depth? I'm going to go 105 and see where that puts this. Go back to this. I want to be in this G view where we're basically looking at the slot from that view. Let's go to wireframe, create a silhouette boundary. We'll pick our whole solid. Say okay. Now I want to look and see roughly. That looks pretty good. It's roughly about midway to the full length of the slot. Let's go back to our levels, turn our solid off. So all we want to keep out of this is just that slot. So if you hold shift and click on any kind of chain or wireframe, it should select all those entities. Select them all, hit delete that out. All right, so there's one. Turn our solid back on. You can, if you've got it set up, or it should be by default, you can right click, go to your right click menu, select G view, and then name. It'll have all your named or created planes in that menu. Let's go to slot front 2, silhouette boundary, do the same thing. Go ahead and create them all. Slot front 3, silhouette boundary. Turn our solid off. Delete all this stuff we don't need. Hold shift. Delete. Now we've got the geometry we want to use for roughing the slots. Because this is just going to get the minimum opening from that view, that slot. Because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use this to do a 2D contour and ramp halfway and halfway from each side. We're going to go to, so we'll ramp halfway down this view and then flip over and ramp halfway down that view. And that'll get us an opening in our slot. But then we also we're going to have all this material left in the corners. We're going to want to, I'll probably just use a cam cycle and plunge that out with the end mill also. So we need to create geometry for that. We're just going to do this creating lines. So what we're going to do is go to, really we just need a line from that curve and a line from that curve in each one of the slots. So let's go, this is slot 1 if I'm not mistaken. It doesn't really matter. We're going to do it for one slot and then rotate it. So let's create some lines, endpoints. Create a line here. I'm in 2D mode. I'll do that. Make sure you're in the 3D construction. Line endpoint. This. Endpoint. This. All right. That's all we need right now. Turn this off. Go to our top view. And just create a line like this, a line like this. I'll go to 2D, and I want to trim these to where they're even to each other. let's say 2D there, trim there. Get rid of these lines. Back to 3D. Now what we want to do is create a line endpoint. Let's connect these two so we can get the midpoint. Create a line again. Midpoint, midpoint. So this is all we need, is that line we just created. So if we turn our solid back on, you can see that we're kind of midpoint in that radius there, which is what we really wanted to do. That's all I was doing those surfaces for, but this is much simpler. So we can get rid of don't get rid of that yet. Undo that. I'm also going to need these same lines that I created this for. I need 3 points to create an arc is what I need. Right down the middle of the slot. Let's go back to 2D, go to top, trim these even to each other, just like that. Create the midline for this. Now I can get rid of all this stuff that I don't need. Right, let's create arc 3 points. 2, 3. That looks pretty good. So that's going to be we'll actually use this curve or this line and this line for one of our plunge toolpaths, but that's going to be the last path, basically. So what we want to do, need that. We want to create a couple more. It's probably best to have a stock model to kind of visually see how much you're going to need. But I know that I created, I think it was 6 passes at 25 thousandths on when I actually programmed this. What we can do is go ahead and do a toolpath to ramp rough the slots, and then we've got some stock to look at to see what we need. So we need this. Turn that off for now, and just have our solid on for a visual reference. First thing we want to do is create a toolpath. Let's go to the view we're going to be in. So we'll start off with SF1. We'll go contour. I'm going to chain the one that's in the view we're in. I used a 3/16 end mill. Don't worry about feeds and speeds. I'm going to do ramp. I'm doing like 12 thou ramp. Leave some stock on the walls. I left 8 thousandths. Should be fine for down to 5%. Top of stock is going to be roughly here, and we'll pick that as a depth. Probably a little bit too deep. We're going to go down to roughly 100 thousandths. That should be about halfway. I'll do one just to show you for now, so that you can see visually with the stock model how to do the lines. All right, so let's create a stock model. Use a model. I've got what the stock looks like coming out of the lathe. Triple click it and it'll select it. Create another one. Use stock model 1. Select these toolpaths. Go back to our actual part model. Now you can kind of see what I was talking about with we're leaving a lot of material left in the corners here, even a little bit at the bottom. Let's go to our plunge lines. What we want to do, we kind of analyze from here to here. We're using a 3/16 end mill, so you kind of get this stuff to do right. got roughly a 1/4 inch there. We take that by 25. That's about 6 passes that we would need to do this with. So what we're going to do is go wireframe, modify length. We're going to shorten it by 25 thousandths. Let's turn all this stuff off that we don't hide that stock model. Shorten the ends of our curve by 25 thousandths. Create a new line. I'm going to do this 6 times, or 4 more times now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Now we don't need these no more. Now if we go to toolpaths, we'll start with this wider side, which is the, like on the back side. Thing I want to look at, so let's make sure our planes are correct. Like I changed this one when we did it. We're going to go to the top view. We're going to use a 5-axis drill cycle for this. Drill. Now what we're going to do is pick the line from the end where it's pointing at the spindle. We're going to do it like this. There yet, let's do this. Let's do one side at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we want to go use the same tool. We'll not worry about feeds and speeds right now. Tool axis control, we're going to go to 5-axis. Track in there, calculate from the depth from the top of the line, top of stock, we'll leave it 0, and then depth is going to be the midpoint. That's close to halfway. Now if we backplot this, it's going to create 5-axis can cycle for drilling. Let's go ahead and do this from the bottom. From the bottom, we don't need, looking at our stock, we don't need quite as many, we'll have to do as many picks on that. So this we can just copy and paste and reselect our geometry. Delete all that out. We're just going to do 3 on each side. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I think if we leave it the same, it don't quite do the same. Yeah, it does. Just couldn't see it. Let's do a stock model for this. Stock model 2. That and that. Not going quite deep enough. Go minus 550. Generate. All right, so now we've got our corner somewhat roughed out. All right, I'll go through and do this. Basically, what we have to do now is, or what we can do, turn that stock model off. Let's go to our front view, select those lines. Let's turn our solid on. We can go rotate, pick the center of the part for the rotation center, go 120 and 2 times. Now we've got more lines. So I'll go through and create the rest of this, these toolpaths off camera, and then we'll come back and start from there. All right, I got all the toolpaths created for this roughing part of it. Just basically rinse and repeat did one set of holes. I copied and pasted the toolpaths and did the same thing. Probably going to be about as far as we get in this first video. Next video, we'll start doing the holes, and then we'll come back and finish out the slots. So until then, we'll see you next time.